Yes! Hello, welcome to the Redmen TV. Liverpool beating Spurs by 3-1. 3 goals, 3 points, back in the top 4, baby. Oh yes, and Jose Mourinho was as salty as you fucking like. I am here for the player ratings. If you want to get involved, the Alisson poll is open right now to vote. Just look underneath me, read, it tells you how to do it. Type in the chat, !, vote, space, and then the number 10. Might be the number today because we scored goals and we won points, and yes, we finally won a game of football in the actual Premier League, the league that we're champions of. Oh my days, what a performance by so many lads, and we get to discuss them all in a little bit of depth and detail right now. But we're starting with the goalkeeper. His name is Alisson Becker. He's the best goalkeeper in the world, and he made a couple of decent saves tonight. You know, made the big one from Son, didn't make one from Son really early on, but it was chalked off, so it didn't matter. Alisson Becker, I don't know what we're going to rate him tonight. I'd have him round about an 8 out of 10, something like that, to be honest with you. And I can see that 8 out of 10 absolutely is what was given to Alisson Becker. So we're going to start up and we're going to open the poll next for Trent Alexander-Arnold. And as you can see, that poll is open. And what a performance by Trent Alexander-Arnold today. He's back. Finally, we see Trent Alexander-Arnold, the Trent Alexander-Arnold that we know and fell in love with. The lad got an assist. The lad got a goal. What more do you want from your right back? Not Wan-Bissaka, that much is fucking for sure. He was just brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant tonight. And the best thing about it was he didn't overcommit. That space wasn't always there behind him. But when he did, he picked his moments to attack and he picked the right balls at the right time. You know, he gets on that front foot when he gets that assist for Sadio Mane. Yes, Jose Mourinho's already spoken about those individual errors. Liverpool forced those individual errors by putting their defenders under pressure each and every time we had the ball, and that's what it felt like to me. I thought Trent was absolutely brilliant. He really was, and not just hoofing balls into the box. There was just so few crosses by Liverpool tonight. It was brilliant to see. We worked the ball brilliantly through the middle, out wide, and as I say, Trent Alexander-Arnold, absolutely superb. You guys have given him a 10 out of 10. I'm A-okay with a 10 out of 10. And then we move on to Joel Matip next. Obviously goes off at half-time, injured again. For fuck's sakes. Jesus, Joel, come on. Glass ankles, plated ankles, whatever it is, and it is an ankle injury. James Pearce has just tweeted now. But when he was on the field, let's talk about that. We can talk about, there's plenty of times to talk about injuries and how we're going to deal with that. He was brilliant. You know, you think of that one where Son's just running through on goal and he gets back and he looks like he's out of position, but he's not because he knows Son's going to cut inside. And as he does, gives him a little shoulder, takes the ball, leaves Son on his floor, even has time to turn around, point, laugh, and then play the ball. And that's what Joel Matip is. He's a centre-half, but he's a bloody brilliant centre-half. And it was a cracking 45-minute cameo from Joel Matip. How long he's out for? No idea. But I absolutely loved his performance on the night. And he just does everything so well. And there was that one time when he takes that ball and he runs through and then he just gives the ball away. He's known to do that. At least once a game he's going to do that. But it didn't matter today. You know, when he was on the pitch, we didn't concede a goal. And that's what matters for Liverpool Football Club. And he gets an 8 out of 10. And I was thinking about the same, to be honest with you. Next alongside him is Jordan Henderson, the captain, playing that left-sided centre-half position, which he's going to know quite well because we don't know how long Firmino's out for. We don't know how long Joel Matip's going to be out for. So get used to Henderson at centre-half, and on that performance, I'm sound with that. You know, Harry Kane obviously goes off at half-time as well. Thought Hendo and Matip did a really good job against Harry Kane and Son, to be fair. I think his covering play, his reading of the game, he showed that he knows how to play that position. It might not be natural, but he's going to give his all. You know, he wins headers, he wins tackles, he pushed up at the right time, and he won everything that was near him, to be honest with you. I think the goal, nothing to do with Alisson, nothing to do with Matip, nothing to do with Jordan Henderson. If anything, the midfield might have pushed back a little bit too deep. So Jordan Henderson, for me, I'm rating him about an 8 out of 10. I can already see 9s and 10s are coming flying in. But he does what he does, and you know he's a leader, and you know he's talking, and you know he's speaking to everybody, and he won't let anyone rest on the laurels. And that's what Liverpool did today. They didn't rest on the laurels. They just kept on bombing forwards, kept on going for goals, kept on putting the pressure on Tottenham Hotspur. And I know for a fact that Jordan Henderson was talking at the back end of everything, and he gets a 9 out of 10 from you guys. So well done, everybody, giving the captain a 9 out of 10. Next we'll move on and we'll open the poll up right now for Andy Robertson. So if you want to vote for Andy Robertson, poll's open, type ! Vote, space, number, press the enter button. Your vote will be registered. It's not going to cost you any money. It really isn't. You don't need to ask the bill payer for permission. as long as you're allowed to use the internet, it's absolutely fine with us. Andy Robertson actually was an interesting one, I thought. A little bit quieter than probably Trent Alexander-Arnold this game. I think he's probably been our player of the season so far, Andy Robertson. You know, I think he only had 2 crosses on the day, Robbo. And I wonder if it was just a thing that Liverpool did where they went, do you know what, we're just not going to whip that ball in today until we absolutely know we can get something from it. And I thought he did really well with James Milner and Sadio Mane on this left-hand side. Don't think he was bombing on so much that he was going past players all the time, but he sort of gets into this area of the field and then just sort of checks his run. There was one time where a couple of times where he's had those crosses from the byline and stuff like that. But all told, it was a very measured performance, I thought, from Andy Robertson today. A good performance, not a great performance, not a vintage Andy Robertson performance. But again, defensively, he was sound. Defensively, he did everything that was needed from him today in this Liverpool team. He provided that balance in this team today, didn't he? Always an option, so when the attack does break down, you know you've got Andy Robertson, you know you can play that ball out to him, and he gets a well-deserved 8 out of 10 as we open the poll up next for Thiago. The reason we're opening up for Thiago and not Wijnaldum is because I thought he was going to play the 6 and I write the order down very, very early. So we'll do Thiago first and foremost. If you want to vote, I've told you, it's underneath me. Get voting. Thiago was brilliant. Unleashed. He's not playing that 6. He was playing an 8. He looked so comfortable in it, didn't he? Picked up a yellow card. He always picks up a yellow card. That's going to be Thiago at Liverpool Football Club, I think. Couple of rash challenges, arsed. What I'm thinking about is how he played through the pain. He gets that head thing. He looks like Butcher. He's got the bandage on and he's still playing football. Brilliant actually in the goal that was disallowed from Liverpool. You know, he gets it from Bobby Firmino, juggles it through, plays it to Mane, Mane to Salah, Salah back of the net, chalked off for handball, whatever. But Thiago was just brilliant. And he was brilliant because he wasn't having to think about his defensive duties. He had Georginio Wijnaldum there with a mop, literally just mopping up behind everybody. And it allowed Thiago to play with that freedom. Look up, see what's going on, beat a man maybe, sometimes play the ball out to Trent, switch the play, long balls, everything. And it was that was it. That's what you want to see with Thiago, isn't it? We've seen everything from Thiago in that performance from an attacking point of view and what he can bring the side. I thought he linked Trent and Mo really well. I thought he linked the midfield with the attack really well. He was getting into the area and his movement was creating space for Bobby Firmino to drop into. Bobby Firmino was then being able to turn, find players and all that. And this midfield, for me, that's one of the best midfield performances of the season. It's an unlikely midfielder with Wijnaldum in the 6, Thiago and James Milner, but the 3 of them complemented each other absolutely superbly. I'd give Thiago a 9. Yous have give Thiago a 9. I love that. Get on that board. Thiago, number 9. Next, we're opening up for Georginio Wijnaldum. Gini, again, I thought he was brilliant, to be honest with you, and he won't get the plaudits in the same way as Trent Alexander-Arnold, maybe James Milner, Georginio Wijnaldum, but he stood there and he drew a line in the sand and just went, no, this is where Liverpool are going to get the ball from, this is what we're going to do, he's going to play the 6, he wins things in the air, he wins tackles, Tottenham couldn't play through him. In fact, we dominated that midfield with those 3 players, and Georginio Wijnaldum was a big part of that. He showed his strength, he hustled, he shielded the ball, he ran forwards, he joined the attack. It was a bit of everything, and he plays it a little bit more like Fabinho for me than maybe Jordan Henderson or a Thiago does. He likes to do a lot of moving forwards with the ball at his feet, and it gave us time. He looks up and he picks the right pass at the right time. Brilliant vintage Wijnaldum performance there, and such a shame that you think that he might leave Liverpool because he's still got so much to give this team. Whether he's asked to do it in the 8 or whether he's asked to do it in the 6, there will always be a tinge of regret if we let Wijnaldum move on from me anyway, because I know how good he is and how versatile he is and how much he can bring to this side. So yeah, absolutely brilliant performance from him. He gets a 9 out of 10. We're going to open the poll up next for James Milner. And just while I do that, I've got a super chat from Salman Qureshi. He told you last week, Chris, we'd get better. Little winking emoji, and then Trent. And we'll talk James Milner now, because for me, that's my man in the match. I mean, let's be honest, right? I'm going to put the pen down for just 1 second, because I want to talk a little bit about James Milner. He played there. Oh, what a catch! He played there. He played there. He played there. He played fucking there. There. The man was everywhere. I mean, you can't pin James Milner down to position. The lad's the oldest player that we've got, the fittest player that we've got, maybe the best player that we've got. And I know I'm on the hype train right now and I'm excited because Liverpool got 3 points and we scored 3 goals. But James Milner was literally everywhere today, and he always seems to be. He was playing the 10, he was out left, he was out right, and he constantly provided overloads for every side of the pitch that we were playing down. Play down the right, I'll get over there, sound. Play down left, I'll be over there, no worries. And I'm like, how the fucking hell are you doing this, James? Seriously, how are you doing this? My God, the man's amazing and he's my favourite player ever now. Full stop. He's not, but he's close to. 10 out of 10. What did you give him? A 10 out of 10. You gave him a 10 out of 10. I was giving him a 10 out of 10, no matter what. Next, we'll move it on to Mo Salah then. Mo Salah tonight. You know, Sadio Mane scored the 2 sort of goals from Mo Salah's brilliant through balls. He'd have 2 assists, and he nearly got a goal as well. The finish was brilliant. I mean, very early on in the game, Mo plays Mane through, and he misses it, fluffs his line, hits it left-footed wide. The other one, he dinks it over the top, and that's where Mane just gets a toe to it. I think we sometimes forget that because he didn't get a goal, so you probably think, oh, a little bit of a disappointing performance. No, it wasn't. There was times when he was massively involved in getting us forwards and getting shots off goal. You know, I think of the other one where he's trying to get his feet out, and he tries to get that shot, as I think it's Trent Alexander-Arnold maybe pulls it back, or Bobby Firmino from the goal kick line or whatever. Mo was sound. Like, in those one-on-one situations, he probably didn't win out, but, you know, driving at the defenders towards the end of the game, I thought it was a good performance from him, and I'm not talking like 9s out of 10s, I'm probably talking about an 8 out of 10 for Salah, but had he got a couple of assists, we're talking about it in a completely different light, and that's because Sadio Mane missed those opportunities more than anything. Oh wow, he gets a 9 out of 10. That surprised me. I thought you should give him a 7 out of 10, something like that, and I was going to go high on an 8. Anyway, we're going to open up the poll next for Sadio Mane. 1 goal, 1 assist. First of all, like, that little chest down, brilliant. Fluffs the cross a little bit. Bobby Firmino can't miss it. Brilliant. And again, you know, when we play well, Sadio Mane is heavily involved in everything that we do. And I thought today was one of the performances where the front 3 all played well. And I think they were in a position where they could all play well because these 3 all crucially played well. And that was it. If we win this, these guys tend to play better. We won the midfield battle. We gave them a good platform to go out and score goals and get assists and everything else, you know, get a goal as well. Instinctive sort of finish. He doesn't have time, you know, comes off the defender, smashes the ball in the back of the net. And I thought Sadio Mane was sound for us tonight. As I mentioned, missed a couple of really easy opportunities. Probably could have had 4 goals in that game, and he'd probably be thinking he should have had 4 goals in that game. And he always seems to just get the better of Tottenham Hotspur, and Liverpool always seem to get the better of Tottenham Hotspur as well, don't they? But yeah, Sadio Mane was absolutely brilliant. Another key pass as well. What I found interesting was that Mo had 2 key passes, Sadio Mane had 1 key pass, and Roberto Firmino had 3 key passes. Tells you all you need to know about how the front 3 performed tonight. And Sadio Mane gets a 9 out of 10. My pen's running out, which is a little bit disappointing. We'll see if we can get through to the end. Bobby Firmino, vintage Bobby Firmino tonight, I'd go with. Again, you know, it wasn't like back to the goal Bobby Firmino where he's looking to sort of play those little balls round the corner or anything like that, was it? He was picking the ball up and he was turning and he was driving at the defence, and that started really early on in the game, and Tottenham didn't really know how to pick him up. They changed things, I think, at half-time, specifically because we were winning that midfield battle, but more specifically because I think Bobby Firmino was finding joy in the middle of the park. You know, the defenders weren't going with him, the midfielders were occupied with Thiago and Milner and their movement, and that freed up the space for Bobby Firmino to find himself in, picking balls out for Mo Salah, picking balls out for Sadio Mane. There's a few occasions where you think, actually, maybe we could have done a little bit better, but he was so far ahead of the team. The press worked really well tonight from the front 3 players as well. There was times where you just wish there was more bodies with him, because you knew if there was more bodies, Bobby was going to pick those bodies out. But again, a vintage performance. I can see he's got a 10 out of 10. I'd have gone 9.5, but we're splitting hairs here, boys. 10 out of 10 for Bobby Firmino. We'll move on next for Nat Phillips, because Nat Phillips comes into the game short notice, probably expected with Joel Matip starting that he might have got a game type, but maybe he'd have been thinking about Reece Williams, and, you know, Reece did really well against Tottenham Hotspur, and it seemed like maybe, you know, we should have been a little bit worried with Nat Phillips coming in. Nat Phillips did everything that was needed from him tonight, and Paul, I think, called it right on the commentary. You know, with the way that Tottenham were playing, with the way that they were trying to push forward second half, because Liverpool had crucially got that second goal early, it meant, and because they then had a little bit of confidence from their first that they could then push on and get a second, it meant that Nat Phillips, the way that they attacked actually helped Nat Phillips, I think, and, you know, everything that he did really well, and, you know, they were pressing high up the pitch second half, Tottenham, and, you know, maybe that's Nat's weakest area of his game, but from a defensive sense, brilliant, got his head onto everything that he needed to get his head onto, and I thought it was good, solid, probably 8 out of 10. And I can see with about 20 seconds left, I'm going to call that there, because I can see loads of 10s in there, but I'm going to call it as an 8 out of 10. And then I'm not going to open the poll up for Kurt Jones, because I thought he was sound. I thought it was a nice nice time to bring him into the game. About 20 minutes ago, taking Thiago off and everything else. And you can see what he was going to offer there. In fact, you know, Mo Salah probably should have played Kurt Jones through, but it was probably around about a 7 out of 10 performance from Kurt Jones. And that's not, no disrespect there, I just don't think he was in the game long enough. And, you know, the way that the game had gone on, we kind of moved away from it and stuff. And then finally, I'm going to give Big Divock a 6 out of 10. He comes on with 3 minutes to go. And he got a good tackle in, and that was about it. But ultimately, it's just about the 3 points. It's about Liverpool beating Tottenham Hotspur. It's about getting back into the top 4. About these 3 lads performing, and this midfield working, man. And if they can play every week while Hendo's covering for Matip and Firmino at the back, sounds. Because finally, it seems like we've got a midfield. We've got a tune out of him. We've got a tune out of him. Brilliant. And you know you're always going to get a tune out of Georginio wijnaldum. 3 points. Massive 3 points for Liverpool. Feels like we finally just got that lift that we needed. Feels like we can just forget about the past and just focus on what's going on next. I can't wait for the next game now. I've been dreading Liverpool games these last few weeks and stuff, but finally 3 points. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to everyone who's watched, who's commented, who's liked, and who's super chatted and joined as a member. Paul and Ben will be back with the instant match reaction in about 5 to 10 minutes time. Can't wait to get home, watch that one, and then just consume the highlights. Get them in, inject that performance into your veins. What a time to be a Red. We'll see you next time. Ta-ra.
Thank you so much for watching the Redmen TV YouTube channel. Everything we do here is funded by our wonderful subscribers to the redmentv.com. Get over there, sign up and get amazing additional content, interviews, documentaries, mini-series, and of course additional pre and post match day content.